Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are watching this video, let me welcome you all to our channel Future Endeavors. Okay, so far we have been discussing the ICC specimen paper Physics Term 1. Today we will be continuing with our discussion. In the previous class, we have stopped at question number 2E. So we will be starting from question number 2F. So without wasting much time, let us continue our discussion. Okay, so let us see what the question number 2A says. See, okay, so we are discussing question number 2 subpart F. 2 subpart F. So what does it say? Okay, let me just write it down. Question number 2, it is subpart F. Okay. So it's a numerical problem given here. So what does the problem says? Let me just read it out first for you. So the problem says, a figure has been given. Girl is at rest at the gate of a society which is 3.2 meter above the road. Comes down the slope AB on a cycle without paddling. Okay. So just let me draw the figure for you. So this is the figure. This is a horizontal ground on which there is a slope like this. Okay, and above the slope is the door where the guard is standing. So it is going like this. A guard is standing here. Okay, like this. Okay, so I think the figure is okay. So the points here given out are, this is point A, this is point B, and the height of this is 3.2 meter above the ground. So this is ground. Okay, so this is 3.2 meter above the ground. Okay, it has been asked that take the value of G to be as 10 meter per second square. Okay. Sorry, it has been given as G equals to 10 Newton per kg. Okay, so this has been given. Now what does the first question says? See, the first question says that the mechanical energy possessed by the guard at point B. See, at point B, the guard is simply at rest. It has been said a guard at rest at the gate of a society. So when the guard is at point B, that is at the gate of the society, the guard is in rest condition. Now when a person or when an object is at rest condition, the mechanical energy, form of mechanical energy possessed by it is the potential energy. So here are four options in which it has been given. Gravity. First option is vibrational kinetic energy. So this is question number F subpart 1. Okay. So it has been said that the mechanical energy possessed by the guard at point B is option 1 vibrational kinetic energy. Okay. Option 2 is translational kinetic energy. Option 3 is elastic potential energy, and option 4 is gravitational potential energy. So definitely the answer will be option 4 gravitational potential energy. Definitely it is not elastic potential energy, as there is no spring or any such objects which is elastic in nature. So this is purely gravitational potential. So question number 8 subpart 1, the correct answer is option number 4 gravitational potential energy. Okay, now the part 2 question. What does the part 2 question says? Okay, part 2 question, what does it say? Part 2 question says that the velocity at which the girl reaches the point at A. The velocity at which the girl reaches the point at A. Okay. So here what we have to apply? We have to apply the conservation of mechanical energy. See, the girl is just sliding down the slope. She is not paddling, so she is not putting out any additional energy. Only the mechanical energy, that is the potential energy possessed by her at the top of the slope, that energy is being converted into kinetic energy with which she is coming down. So definitely when the girl comes down at point A, the kinetic energy possessed by the girl would be equal to the potential energy possessed by the girl at point B. Okay, so for solving question number subpart 2, question number subpart 2, what you have to take? You have to here apply. So for this we have to apply the by conservation of mechanical energy, in that short we are writing as ME. So what can I say? That the mechanical energy at point A will be equals to the mechanical energy at point B, isn't it? So at point A, what form of mechanical energy the girl does it possess? She possesses kinetic energy. So at this point she has kinetic energy, and at this point she had elastic potential energy. Okay, at point B. Now, what is the formula for kinetic energy? Formula for kinetic energy is half mv square. Okay, half mv square. So the kinetic energy has been given as half mv square, and the potential energy is mgh, m into g into h, gravitational potential energy. Now see, so equating from this equation we can calculate the value of V. See, the mass M just is taken out from both the sides. Okay, so what does it remain? The remaining portion, so it's like this: V square equals to 2 into G into H. Okay, so V square will be equal to 2 into G is given as 10 and height is 3.2. Okay, so 3.2 into 10 points, it comes as to be 32, and so 32 into 2 is 64. So this is equals to 64. Thus, therefore the V, where should I write? I am just writing it over here. Okay, therefore V is equals to root under 64, that is equals to 8 meter per second. So the velocity of the girl when she reaches the point A is 8 meter per second. So answer will be option number 3. Answer will be option number 3. So subpart 2 answer turns out to be option number 3. Okay, fine. Now what does third part says? Third part says if the mass of the girl is 40 kg, then the kinetic energy of the girl at A is. Okay, now the mass has been given. It has been asked to calculate or to determine the kinetic energy of the girl at point A, assuming that there is no loss of energy. Yes, obviously we have assumed here that there is no loss of energy. That is why we can write that the mechanical energy at point A will be equal to the mechanical energy at point B. So remember this point: if there is loss of energy, then we could not have written this equation. Okay, fine. So coming to the point, just let us see. Okay, so question number subpart 3. Okay, I am just easing off the solution for subpart 2. If anybody has not heard the problem, please pause the video and just note down the solution. Now we are coming to question number subpart 3. Okay, so subpart 3 says you have to calculate the kinetic energy of the girl at point A. If the girl, okay, then kinetic energy Ke will be equals to half into m into v square. Okay, so it turns out to be like this: half mass has been given as say 40 kg. Okay, 40 into v square. V square is v. We have obtained the velocity as 8 square. So taking the value 20, 8 square means 64. 64 to the 128, 1280 joule. So this is the kinetic energy. So the answer turns out to be option number 1. Okay, so question number F subpart 3 answer is option number 1. Kinetic energy is 1280 joule. Okay, so I think the solution is very much clear to you all. Okay, fine. Now let us quickly move on to the next question. Part 4. What does the part 4 says? What does the part 4 says? The part 4 says the potential energy of the girl of mass 40 kg when she reaches the midpoint of the slope AB. Okay. When she reaches midpoint of the slope, it has been given when she reaches midpoint of the slope. Okay, fine. So definitely when she reaches midpoint of the slope, so what will be the value? Okay. Now remember this one thing. So what can you do to see when she reaches the midpoint of the slope? What will be the answer? Okay. So in case, what will be the answer? See, when the girl reaches the midpoint of the slope, so definitely see, one thing is clear. When she reaches the midpoint, what will happen? First, let us understand. When she suppose reaches the midpoint of the slope like this, does the angle of the slope changes? No, the angle of the slope remains the same. So taking that into consideration, when she reaches the midpoint of the slope, then definitely the height will be, this height will be half of the initial height. So initial height was 3.2 meter. So now the height becomes 1.6 meter. Okay. So the height is half. So then what will be the answer? What will be the potential energy at this point? So the potential energy at this point will be nothing but, so question number 4, what does the option says? Question number 4, the answer will be something like this. So potential energy at this point is, what will be the potential energy at this point? Okay, so the potential energy at this point will be PE at midpoint will be equals to, so if the height is being halved, definitely the potential energy which was at the beginning, okay, so that will become half, isn't it? If the potential energy, if she comes half down the slope and the height of the girl is now halved from the initial value, then definitely the potential energy that was at the initial value will be halved, isn't it? Okay, so initial potential energy, I think as we have found it out, it was 1280 joule. Okay, so definitely the potential energy that will be getting at the point, at the midpoint of the slope, will be half of this 1280 joule. So what will it be? It will be half of the initial value at of the potential energy at point, sorry, it should be point B. Okay, so it turns out to be half into 1280, that is 640 joule. Now I think everybody has understood why this becomes half, as because the height has become half. Okay, so definitely the potential energy will be half with regard to the potential energy at point B. Okay, I think this is clear to you all. So the potential energy at point midpoint of the slope is 640 joule. So the answer for question number 4 turns out to be option 4. So this is option 4 again. Okay, so this is the solution for question number 2. Now let us quickly move on to question number 3. If anybody has not noted down the solution or needs to just understand it a little bit elaborately, please pause the video and go through the discussion once again. I think the solution will be very much clear to you. Okay, so now quickly move on to question number 3. Okay, I am just rubbing off the solution. Okay, so now let us go on to question number 3. Okay, so what does question number 3 says? So now we are moving on to question number 3. So question number 3 subpart A. What does the question number 3 subpart A says? Okay, mechanical advantage, load and effort are related as. Okay, so this is a purely theoretical question. I think all of you have read the chapter machines. This is a question from chapter machine. It has been asked what is the relation between mechanical advantage, load and effort. So if you remember, there is a formula between which is relating the mechanical advantage with load and effort, and the formula is, I think you have remembered it, mechanical advantage is equals to load by effort, isn't it? This is the formula. So this relation has been not given directly. So see, option number 3 says then mechanical advantage into effort will give you the load. So this has been given in our option. So this is which option? This is option number 3. So question number 3A will be, answer will be option number 3. Option number 3. Okay. So mechanical advantage into effort will be equal to load. Fine. Then now coming to question number 3B. Question number 3B. So let us just See what is the question. Question number 3b. Okay, it has been said that the which of the following statement is correct. So I am just reading out the options. First of all, it has been given a machine is used to have more output energy as compared to input energy. Now, do you think any machine can have more output than its input? No, it's not possible. A machine can have at the most a output which is equal to its input, but not more than the input. So obviously option 1 is not correct. Mechanical advantage of a machine can never be greater than 1. Okay, so mechanical advantage of a machine can never be greater than 1. I think this option, this statement is correct, because the mechanical advantage of a machine should never be greater than 1, as because the load cannot be greater than the effort. Okay, so is it correct? No, I don't think so. The mechanical advantage of machine can be greater than 1, because I think all of you have read the different types of lever. Okay, so in some lever, that is a second class lever, and in some case of first class lever, the mechanical advantage is greater than 1. In fact, some machines are there which are called as effort multiplier or force multiplier. Okay, so if I consider the possible values of mechanical advantage for a machine. Okay, so what are the possible values? Mechanical advantage can be greater than 1, so this kind of machines are regarded as force multiplier, isn't it? Force multiplier. And machines having mechanical advantage less than 1 are regarded as speed multiplier. So option 2 is also not correct. It is said that mechanical advantage of machine can never be greater than 1. No, this is not correct. It is incorrect. Now let's come to the option number 3. If a machine gives convenience of direction, then its mechanical advantage should be greater than 1. No. A machine which gives the convenience of direction should have a mechanical advantage equal to 1. Okay. And fourth option says for a given design of machine, even if the mechanical advantage increases, the velocity ratio remains the same. Yes. So this is the correct option. When you are seeing that the mechanical advantage for a machine for a given design can increase, but the velocity ratio will definitely remain the same. So question number 3b. So question number 3b. This will be the answer will be option number 4. For any given design of a machine, the mechanical advantage, even if the mechanical advantage increases, the velocity ratio remains the same. Okay. Now let us quickly come on to the question number C. Now it is said that if a block and tackle system with convenient direction has 3 movable pulleys, then its velocity ratio is. So coming to question number C. Okay, it is been said for a block and tackle system. Now see, we have learned, or you may have learned, that combination of pulley can be of 2 types. Okay, one is the block and tackle system, and the other one is a single fixed pulley is used with a number of movable pulleys. When we are using a block and tackle system, remember that the velocity ratio is equal to the number of pulleys that you are using. Okay, so how many number of pulleys you are using? So it is 3. So obviously velocity ratio will be 3. So for block and tackle system, velocity ratio is equal to the number of movable pulleys. Okay, number of movable pulleys, and here the number of movable pulleys is 3. So the correct option for question number 3 subpart C is option number 4. So this is also option number 4. Okay, fine. So this is also option number 4. Okay. Now this subpart D. What does subpart D says? Coming to the subpart D. Subpart D. Okay. It has been asked, work done by body moving on a circular track is 0 at every instant because. Okay, so work done by a body moving on a circular track is 0 at every instant because first option says that displacement is 0. Okay. Second option says displacement is perpendicular to the centripetal force. Third option says there is no force acting, and fourth option says reason is not mentioned in the other options. So what do you think? You know that work done you know that work done is equal to, if we just revise the formula of the work done is equal to Fs cos theta, force into displacement into cosine of the angle between the force and displacement. Now remember, for a circular motion, what happens for a circular motion? You know that the displacement and the force, that is the centripetal force. So if it is a circular motion, okay, when an object is moving in circular path, what happens? The velocity, the object tends to move in this direction. The velocity of the object is in this direction, and the force, that is the centripetal force, acts in this direction, Fc. So you see, that is the motion of the object will be along the displacement. The motion of the object will be along the displacement. Okay, so motion of the object will be along the displacement, isn't it? So when the motion of the object is along the displacement, then the centripetal force here will be perpendicular to the displacement, hence the work done will be 0. So which option is correct? Option number 2 is correct. Displacement is perpendicular to the centripetal force. So option number 2 is the correct answer. So question number D is option number 2, isn't it? Okay, so I think this is clear to you all. Okay, so question number 3 subpart D is option number 2. Displacement is perpendicular to the centripetal force. Fine. Okay, what does the question number E says? E says that identify the conditions required to hear a clear and distinct echo by humans in air. Okay, we will be discussing this. We will be discussing this question in the next class, as because time is not permitting. So time is very limited. We will be discussing this question as it is related to sound, and the next questions are related to sound. So I will be discussing these questions on the next lecture, as because it will be helpful for you to catch the concepts in a single video. Okay, so till then I think it will be better to end this lecture at this point. On the next video we will be discussing from the next question, which is related to sound. So till then, thank you. Please do study well, and if you have any query regarding these questions, you can mention in the comment box. Okay, till then, thank you. Goodbye. Tata.